So you got through the game. How's the body pulled up today?
Yeah, the body's okay. So a little bit better than last week, which is good.
And we heard that it may be a rib problem. Is that correct?
Yeah, they've been a little bit sore from obviously the Richmond game. So spoke to the docs and all that last week, and everything was. They gave me the all clear to play, and got through and pulled up better than I did. So better than I did last week, which is pleasing.
You started in the ruck, which we were surprised by at first. Thought you might give yourself a bit of a rest and head down forward, but you obviously wanted to test it out early.
No, I'd done some tests on the main session on Thursday, so everything was fine with that. And it's just the option that the match committee went with is to start me and Nick in the centre square at the same time. So yeah, I was happy with it. Better than the bench.
What about the face? You got one in the face in the last quarter.
Yeah, that's okay. Just thought I'd better get my one smother for a year and just do it properly. So yeah, no, just a little bit blurry, and then everything was fine. So it's all good.
You did a skipper on the weekend. Was that the first time you've cut in the club?
No, I've done it a couple of times when Glassy missed 2009, and then towards the end of last year as well. So hopefully he can get back and he can have it again.
Luke Shuey's pretty much declared himself on the way in this morning. That's great news for you guys, considering the form that he's been in. Yeah,
no, he was fine. I think he was a little bit tight before he went into the game, and then with the new sub rule at three-quarter time or early in the last quarter, it's just precautionary to really, if a player is getting tight, and the risk is so great that if something does happen, then he missed a lot of chunk of footy. But yeah, he'll be fine. He'll play this weekend, which is good.
And his season, how have you seen it?
Yeah, very good. Sensational young man, and he's had a fantastic year. Really excelled in the midfield and really hit the scoreboard as well when he's pushed forward. So very damaging player for us, and hopefully he can continue to be so for the last 3 games and finals.
It's one of the advantages of that sub rule that you can go in now saying we'll only play this guy for 3 quarters.
Well, you just don't know. So what happens if there's another serious injury early as well? So he did fitness tests all last week, trained all last week, and then before the game he was fine. So he put his hand up ready to go, and with the sub rule, yeah, it probably is. It's late in the game, it is. If a player does pull up a little bit tight, they go along the caution side of things and get them off, and Ashton Ham's come on and played a role for us at half forward and through the middle.
With him and Gaff going really well, and Scotty Selwood obviously performing quite strongly as a midfield as well, and the young fourth that you can put in the middle is really strong at the moment. Yeah,
and I think that's where the really improvements come from our footy club. Obviously we miss Matt Rosa, who's been in fantastic form, but those names you did mention, and Gaffy yesterday was sensational. To generate as much footy he does, he puts his body on the line, he executes really well, so very exciting times for the footy club. And Scott Selwood, I don't think any player here can speak highly enough of him for the work he does, to get the opposition #1 player to put his body on the line, to harass and tackle and put pressure on the opposition is first class.
With Gaffy, obviously he hasn't played as much footy as a lot of the other young guys, hasn't get pushed up in profile as much, but how good has his first year been compared to a lot of the guys you've seen?
Yeah, well, it's probably been an indifferent year for him to start and get subbed for the first part of the year, and then to do his hammy and spend some time at South Fremantle. I think his last 3 or 4 weeks at our level has been sensational. He's really put himself in the position to play on the wing on a regular basis, and just his work rate, I think that he's getting all the rewards purely from working as hard as he possibly can, and good on him. If people don't want to pay him any respect, well, then he's going to cut sides up.
How hard is it for a young guy to get that much of the footy in a game next day?
Well, I don't know. I didn't get that much when I was first playing, so well, you don't see too many that can come into an AFL system and generate the footy that he does. So yeah, he's a pretty special kid.
The third quarter's obviously still an issue. I mean, the club must have done a heap of work on it, but have you managed to pinpoint what's going wrong there?
No, not really. But our second quarter's been pretty good. So have our first and our last. So I think the way the footy goes now, that it's very tough to maintain the consistency over 120 minutes. That's what everyone's aiming for. But sides are going to come at you. They're going to get a run on, they're going to get momentum, and it's just trying to squash that as quickly as possible. And I suppose the good thing is our playing group's been able to do that and then rally in the last quarter and really outrun sides. So yeah, it's an area we'll continue to work on. I'm not sure how you do it. We'll look into a few of the things, but we'd rather be playing a bad 15 minutes or letting sides in for 15 minutes and doing it for 70 minutes.
And the Bombers this week, obviously pretty dangerous, but they can be a bit inconsistent as well.
Yeah, they've got back to playing probably the footy they did at the start of the year. Really defensively minded to really press up and put the opposition under as much pressure as possible, and they're getting the rewards for that. So they've got some quality players, some great young kids, and obviously Watson and players running through the middle. So great test for us, and I suppose our destiny is now in our own hands. We've got to just continually keep getting the 4 points, and then finals will come.
Does it feel like finals have almost started for you because you're pushing for that position? If you drop one, you probably miss out on the top 4. If you keep winning to go in.
Yeah, I suppose so. That's how cutthroat it is. I think that to give yourself the best chance to have a successful year, and successful year is to play a lot of finals games, and I think you've got to finish top 4. So that's our focus, is to try and get ourselves in the best shape come the first final. I think now we've got 3 weeks to really try and iron out all our little problems, really tweak with the game plan and make sure every player knows their role and plays it, and then come that first final we're ready to go. Yeah,
if you finish top 4, you'll play this final interstate. Your record interstate has been really good this year. What's been the change?
I think probably just the consistency of effort. I think every player's playing their role on whether it's at home or away. And I think players certainly wavered from that in previous years, and then when you play away from home you get smashed. So I think the playing group now it's a really consistent effort. I think that when you run out on the ground, you know what everyone's going to give, you know everyone's going to play their role and perform the way the club want to. So that's probably been the most pleasing thing, is our travelling record.
Coxie might have been asked this, sorry if it was a bit late, but Tony Shaw said yesterday that he reckons Essendon could win the flag based on the way their form is at the moment. Is that something you'd go along with?
Well, they're in the 8, so they're every possible chance, but I'll let you know Saturday night if they can win the flag.
Good answer.
Cheers, guys.